so many games pivotal to the make-up to the 8 as we begin that run into September. It's going to be quite something. Joey, Kingy, good to be with you, Joey, again. Hello. Some interesting selections which will play their part, a few big omissions and also some big ins and stars returning. Carlton showing off almost, aren't they, with George Hewitt omitted from the team and De Koning coming back into the team with Pitnet going out despite the fact they played so well. They've been the big mover of late. Yeah, there's some big ins as well. Brennan Cox will touch on for Fremantle, but there's also some massive games that I think with the runway starting to sort of narrow, some sides wouldn't want to drop tonight and then have to play catch-up late in the season, so we'll touch on them. It's a bit of a luxury to be dropping players this time of the season. The injuries are the ones we worry about now, Hutto, from here on in, because we'll start to see out for season in the next couple of weeks, and that's when it really breaks your heart as a football fan. And if you look at the ladder, I mean, really, your old saying about injury being your best friend, you can see it with most of those teams, can't you, that have had a good run. Carlton, since they've been more stable, have put the wins together. All right, Joey, get into it. Let's have your first crack. Well, the first crack, I'm going to go to the big game tomorrow night. It's massive. Collingwood-Essendon, hopefully nearly 90,000 will be there. We know both teams vying for, it's not just top 8, but still have top 4 aspirations, but there will be a loser, and I'm putting this fairly and squarely to steal a line from Dwayne Russell, who brilliantly called the ending of the Gold Coast Collingwood game and the Nick Daicos goal. He said, don't get nicked. Don't get nicked by Nick Daicos, and that is my message to Essendon for tomorrow night, because this guy is on some sort of heater at the moment. He is playing off the charts. He's the hottest player in the competition. In the last 8 games, he's been voted the first or second best player on the ground by the coaches in 7 of the 8. He's airborne, and I think this is an opportunity for the Bombers to try and find a way to shut him down, because even if you are leading by 20 points at three-quarter time, what this guy can do in fourth quarters, I'm not sure we have even seen from anybody in the history of the game over their careers, let alone what he has done in his first... history of the game. Well, he's already done it 14 times where he's come from behind at three-quarter time. To give you some context, Carlton as a team have only done it 13 times in 10 years. Collingwood have done it 14 times in his 62 games that he's played in. And these are the numbers in 5 of the last 6 come from behind. So where they've trailed at three-quarter time and they've won, these are the numbers. So including Anzac Day against the Bombers last year that Bombers fans will remember. There's game round 19 against Port Adelaide over in Adelaide, and then a couple this year that we know about against North Melbourne as well in particular. He is the one that is setting it up. Like, his player ratings in those games are like top 5. He is the reason, the instigator for these comebacks. It is phenomenal what he's doing. I think it's almost gone a little bit undersold because it's become the norm. Yeah. You know, if Marcus Bontempelli did it on the weekend, they come from 3 goals down and he's the best. We will laud Bontempelli, but for some reason it's like Nick Daicos. I mean, no, this is just what he does. Kingy, you're not giving him enough love, apparently. Demarcation dispute here. Yeah, I know. This is my territory. I know, sorry, Kingy. I know. Steal my notes. Stepping on toes here. How good, though? Next minute I'll have a laptop. You have to recognise it. So are you tagging him from start to finish? I think there is one man that Essendon have to use, and that is Sam Durham. I think Sam Durham, who is the spiritual leader now of that midfield for Essendon, you know what he did? He's done the job before. So he took on Marcus Bontempelli. Remember that game? Him and Caldwell went to Bont and Libba, and he won the battle. And they were able to win the contest. And I think right now, let's see if he can do the Quinella. He's gone the best player in the comp. Now there's the other best player in the comp, because he's the right matchup. He's got the leg speed to go with him. He's got the discipline, and he's got the defensive attitude to be able to match motors with Nick Daicos. And you have to have a plan. We've spoken about this now for however long. And I think this guy is the one. I know he's been getting a lot of ball, and he's a fire starter in there, but he can do both. He can try and nullify Nick Daicos, but as we showed last night, Kingy, on watch list, you've also got to make Nick Daicos defend. You can't just follow him around and let him conserve energy defensively and use it all on offence. So I want to see Durham go to Nick Daicos and don't get nicked, and see if they can win that battle. Hey, just on the back of that, just that match-up, that game you're talking about, just want to talk about the Bombers and their defensive 50. And we talked a lot about it last year, about where it was ranked and where they were situated. You can see there they had some issues. If you look at the gap between this year and the last 6 weeks, it's very similar. It's actually very similar, which is surprising given the investment that they've had in their back 50 this season, in the off-season in particular. So I know we've talked about this a lot. We've talked about the matchups and getting them right, and the Ridley role. Who do you put Ben Mackay to? Does he take the absolute best, or does he just take the deepest? I think he has to take the best. And let Ridley be the half-back flanker or on a lesser player, so that he can come off more regularly, because they can't continue with this profile. They were so good for that block of 3 or 4 weeks a month or so ago, and it's just dissipated a fraction. So there's a big challenge there to gather and go again. Yeah, there certainly is, and they're not converting their chances at the other end either, are they? So lots of issues for the Bombers. They can right some of those wrongs tomorrow night.